Consider this piece of code right here. What can be a possible outcome of this line user.getAddress.getCountry.getName? Well, it is as obvious as that it will throw a null pointer exception because the name, which is the data member of country, is null. And believe me, this is the worst nightmare for a Java developer. I myself have spent hell lot of time debugging those issues with the root cause of which was a null pointer exception. But the question is, can we rule out the chances of getting a null pointer exception? Or at least can we minimize the chances wherein we can encounter a null pointer exception in a production ready code? Then the answer is yes, we can. With Java 8, we have an option to use a class which is optional class. So what is an optional class? Optional class basically is of two types. The first one, an optional class can have an object of type, whatever type we defined, whether it's a custom object or whether it's a string or any integer or any long object. Then the other one is an empty optional object. So that will be a type of user, but it might not contain any value. Let us go to the IDE and see how we can actually create an optional object and what we can do with an optional object. So here we have a user object which is having its attribute like the email address and the address and the country, right? And we have another user object which is a null object. So the way we can create an optional object is basically of three type. We can create an empty optional object which cannot have any value. So this particular statement optional.empty will create an empty optional object. Then in the second case, optional.off user1, it will create an optional object of type user. But in this scenario, when we are using optional.off, so off basically expects the argument to be a non-null argument. So if the user1, which is the argument of this optional.off, if this user1 is a null object, then at runtime this optional.off will throw a null pointer exception. So to overcome the situation or the limitations of optional.off, which expects always a non-null object, we have another method which is off-nullable method, which expects an argument which can be a null object as well. So let us see what is the outputs of these three values. So let me run this example now. So as we can see, this line number 17 gives an output of optional.empty, which means we have created an optional object which is empty. Then the second output is optional of user. So since user1 was not null, it has some value. So it has printed optional of this user. So we can get this user by using .get or .get method on the optional, which we will discuss later. And the third part is optional.off nullable. Since user2 was null, so in that case we have got optional.empty. So these are the three ways with which we can create an optional object. Now once we have an optional object, how we can access values from this optional object? So how we can access the values from optional object? So the first way to get the value is by using get method. So what it will do, it will just return the user if it is not null. But since we have used off here, so if user1 is null, then this will throw a null pointer exception. Then we have optional.off nullable, then user1, then is present. So what is present will do, it will basically check whether this of nullable, whether this optional object has a value or not. So if user1 is non-null, then it will return a true, and if user1 is null, then in that case this will result into an optional.empty and it will return a false. Another method we have is if present. So it's similar to is present, but along with that it also have a consumer method wherein we can actually perform some operations if the value is present. So in this case, optional.off nullable user2, since the user2 is null, in that case if present will do nothing. But if we change it to user1, then this will print the user1 object. Basically what we can do here is we can do a user u equals to optional.off user1.get, and then we can print the u, right? And then in second case what we can do, since this is present will return a boolean value, so we can get it into a boolean object, and then we can print that as well. So in third case we don't have to explicitly write system.out because we are actually doing that operation in here inside this if present only. So let me run this example again and let's see what happens. So the first output, this is user1.get, we are getting the user1. So we are getting a user object which has this value. Then second, we are getting a boolean value which says true. Since we are passing user1 and it has some value, it is not null, so it is returning a true value. Then third, we are passing a user1 in here, so it is also printing the same user object. But what happens when we just change this first to user2? Now in this case, as I have told earlier, if we use optional dot off and we pass a null reference in here and we do a get of it, then it will throw a null pointer exception. So let's see if it throws null pointer exception or not. Yeah, so it has thrown a null pointer exception at line number 22 because this off always expects the argument to be a non-null value. So let me change it to user1. Okay, so what happens in the last case? Let me change it to user2, which is a null value. Then what will happen in this case is it will not throw any null pointer exception, neither it will do any operation because it does not have any value. So we only have got the result of the first two. The last one, since it was a null value, hence it did not perform this operation. So now we have seen how we can create an optional object and how we can access the values from an optional object. In some scenarios, when we are receiving an empty optional object, in those scenarios we want to provide some default values to it. So for those scenarios we have two methods, which are or else method and or else get method. This one, so we are passing user2, which is basically a null object, right? So what it will do, optional dot of nullable of null, and if we do an or else operation in here, so we can give our default value in the argument of or else, so that if user2 is null, then in that case it will give us a user1 as the or. Likewise, or else get also does the same thing what or else does, but in or else get, what we can define here is, instead of passing a value, we can pass a supplier method as an argument of or else get, so that that will compute what the values needs to be returned as a default value if the user2 is null. So let me run this code and see what happens. Okay, so let me print u1. So let me run this example again, and now we can see in both the lines we have got a user object, because in the first scenario user2 was null, so we got user1 as output, and in second scenario user2 was null, so we got user1 as output again. You might argue here that or else and or else get, if both does the same thing, then what is the need of having two different methods? Instead we can have one method and that will serve the purpose. But there is a major difference which was not covered in this scenario, which we'll see later. So now I have created a new method, which is create new user method, which will return a user object as well as it will print before creating the user, right? And now I am passing the null references in both the statements. Let me run the example and see what happens. Okay, so now since I have passed a null references, so it went ahead and it took the default value. So in first case it went ahead and created a new user, hence it is printing creating user twice, and then it is printing the default value. Now let me actually pass the actual values in here. Now in both the scenarios I'm passing an object which has value, which is non-null object, right? So let's see what happens in here. Okay, so as you can see, we have got the actual user object, not the default one, but we also got this printed. But why this got printed? If this was non-null and this optional returned the value of user1, then why the hell this create new user got executed and it created a new user, default user? So this is the difference between or else and or else get method, right? So what happens is, no matter what is the value of this user1, if we are using or else method, the argument of it, which is the create new user, will always get executed, right? But in the second scenario, when we use or else get method, what it will do is it will only evaluate the argument if and only if this one is a null or an empty optional object. Or else get method comes handy when we have very costly operations going on as a supplier method. Now we also have an option to throw an exception in case of a null value. So this method of nullable user2 dot or else throw, this or else throw method throws an exception in case we have a null value. So right here we have user2, which is basically a null object. So this will throw an exception saying illegal argument exception. As you can see, it has thrown illegal argument exception. So this also comes handy when we don't want to pass a default value in case we have an optional.empty object. Then in that case, if we want to throw some user specific or business specific exception, then we can do that very well using this or else throw method. We can also see how we can transform values what we are getting from an optional object, right? So right here we have an optional of nullable user1. So user1 is a non-null object. So what we can do here is we can use a map method to map that user object into some other value, and then we can get an optional object out of it and we can use that optional object. So if you have been using Java Stream, then you must have used this map method somewhere. If we run this particular example, then what we'll get here is we will get an optional of email ID. Oh, I'm sorry, I think I have to comment that out. Yeah, so as you can see, the output of this particular logic is optional of the email ID. So what we have done here is we have passed a user object, then we have mapped that user object to a email ID, and then we have returned that optional object and we have printed that optional object, right? So this is quite easy when we are using map. But there can be some scenarios wherein we don't have an optional object. We can have multi-level optional object basically. What I mean by multi-level optional object is, let's say for example in this country object, what I have done is while getting the name I have returned an optional object, right? So let me just go ahead and create one optional object, optional dot of nullable, and we are also passing an optional object in here, dot optional dot of nullable of the user one, right? So now this optional object is having an optional object of user type, right? So if we go ahead and do a map operation on it, let's say we are doing map operation and we are extracting the name of the country for on which user belongs to, then user dot get dot get address dot get country and then dot get name. Since get name returns an optional of string, right? So the result which map will return will be an optional of string. So let me just take that optional of optional of string, right? Optional one. Okay, so s out optional one. So let me, okay, so now as you can see, this particular map operation has resulted into an optional of India, right? So in these scenarios wherein our intermediate operation, which is this map operation, can also result into an optional object, then overall we will get a multi-level optional object. To deal with those scenarios, what we can do is we can, let me copy this. What we can do is we can use a flat map which will flatten the resultant optional of optional value and will just give us the value instead of on an optional object. So let me print that, and then if we use a flat map and then user dot get address dot get country dot get name. Okay, sorry, let me just remove this. Okay, so what this get name will return an optional of string, and what this flat map will return, it will just return an optional of string instead of multi-level optional object. So let me just take it into one optional of string optional 2 equals to this, right? So if we write optional 2, then what it will do is then it has returned just the inner optional object, right? So in this scenario we can avoid getting multi-level optional object as a result of any transformation logic, right? So there flat map comes handy. Now let us address the very first problem of null pointer exception which we discussed earlier in the session. How can we gracefully handle that NPE using our optional class, right? So here we have this country object which is null, and we are calling get name operation or method on the country object basically on a null reference, right? So this will ideally throw a null pointer exception, which it has thrown, right? To counter this, what possibly can we do, right? We can possibly apply a check on each of the object because we don't know which object is null, right? So we have applied a check on user. If it is not null, then we are getting the address object. If address is not null, then we are getting the country object, and so on and so forth. We are getting the name of the country, and then we are finally printing it. So right, this approach works fine because it has applied all the checks and then it has printed out the country name, right? So in this case we don't have a country name, so it has not printed anything out. But in real life scenarios there can be n number of methods, and there can be multiple scenarios wherein the object can be null, so you cannot go and apply a null check each and everywhere. So what you can do in those scenarios is basically you can make use of optional object as a return type of those method, so that the caller of those method will eventually get to know that the return type is optional, so it can be a null, right? So in that case it's his job is to handle that null reference scenario. He can actually get that optional.empty object, and he can put it some default values, and he can carry forward the operation. The next approach can be obviously by using an optional object. So what we are doing here is, here we are passing the user reference, we are getting the address object, then we are getting the country object, and then eventually we are getting the name of the country. And in this case the country object is null, so we will not get any name, we will get a null object, so this will convert it into an optional.empty object. So in that scenario, or else will get executed and it will put us a default value and it will print the default value as output. So here it is, we have got the default value as India. So this is it for today's session. I hope this has cleared the concept of optional object, and let me know if I have missed something or if you have any doubts in the comment section below. Till then, happy coding. Bye bye.